Every Waking Dream by Lauren Eason, independently published, 2021. Having to adjust to a new town, school, and friends were not what Crayton Smith had expected after spending the summer locked inside a rehabilitation center. After getting busted for taking drugs to stay awake, her psychiatrist learns the real reason behind Ashlyn's fear of sleeping. She experiences a phenomenon known as dream telepathy. Afraid to expose her secret to anyone else, she tries to live an everyday life after being prescribed a sleeping aid with the convenient side effect of having dreamless nights of sleep. But once her chance at peace is taken away, Ashlyn finds herself in an odd dream of a mysterious girl. She thinks nothing of it until she sees the girl's face again plastered on the front page of the news as a missing person in a string of unsolved cases. Struggling to keep her reality together, Ashlyn decides to take matters into her own hands and find the missing children. If there's one thing that she's sure of, it's that the dead do not dream. This was a wonderful, fun little mystery tale. It isn't my typical go-to read, but the description intrigued me with the idea of dream telepathy. And I have to admit, psychological thrillers are now more on my radar than they ever were before. Our teenage main character, Ashlyn, has the ability to enter other people's dreams. In Ashlyn's case, it is completely random and uncontrollable. In severe instances, while she is in someone else's dream, her body is prone to sleepwalking and even violent outbursts or seizures. This impact, on top of her being forced to see people's true selves in their unfiltered dream worlds, torment Ashlyn enough to where she turns to medication to stay awake for as long as possible. This lands her in a summer stint in a rehab facility, where she makes her new best friend, Raven. Ashlyn's family relocates to a new city to be closer to the rehab facility. This gives Ashlyn a fresh start at a new school once she is released at the end of summer break with a newly prescribed sleep aid with the convenient side effect of preventing dreams. The new medication is mostly successful, and we get to follow Ashlyn as she adjusts to her new home and school. But one night when her mother has had a little too much to drink and not feeling particularly motherly at the moment, she dismissed Ashlyn for the night without giving her the needed sleep medication. There are still some trust issues there from her parents, so they keep her meds locked up in a safe. This, of course, lands Ashlyn into a strange dream of a young girl being attacked at a hotel. The next morning, Ashlyn sees a photo of the same girl from her dreams in the newspaper, listed as a missing person. This event leads Ashlyn into an amateur detective role as she tries to uncover what happened based on the clues from her previous dream. When another girl comes up missing, a friend of Ashlyn's sister no less, Ashlyn ramps up her investigative efforts, including coming off of her medication, to try and crack the missing person cases that continue to pile up, each one being strangely linked with the others. Ashlyn begins to uncover a massive amount of cases, and her investigation leads her into a dark underbelly of their new town, one that's trying to be hidden by the wealthy. The characters presented in this story are done very well. Ashlyn is trying her best to put her past behind her and move on, but her parents' lack of trust in her in the beginning is something that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to. Raven is a very strong supporting character. Her and Ashlyn have the same goals, but their personalities are pretty polar opposite, and it was a blast watching them play off of each other. Ashlyn's sister Jess comes in strong as well. She is a great, loving, supportive sister, exactly what Ashlyn needed throughout the whole story. The author does bring in a love interest for Ashlyn. Jason has his own issues from his past that he has worked through, and he's able to use the things he has learned to further support Ashlyn. Their relationship was sort of hit and miss for me. He didn't complicate the story at all, but if he weren't there either, it wouldn't have affected the story for me. In my opinion, he's just kind of there. You could replace him with an emotional support dog and I still got the same vibe. The story overall is mostly fast-paced. There is one or two moments that seem to slow down for me, notably the high school homecoming dance. But that's more of a personal opinion than a strong critique. If you're reading a young adult book, you've got to expect those kind of scenes, right? It's just not my cup of tea, that's all. If you want a true critique, let's talk about the ending. I won't spoil anything here. The ending was great, and part of it was something that I wasn't expecting. My critique is the climax of the story seemed rushed. Not in a bad way per se, it just unfolded really, really quick, if that makes any sense. I just remember reading through it and thinking, well, that was fast. There was nothing that I felt was missing from the story part of it. I guess I just expected more character point of view, thoughts, emotions, something like that. The ending doesn't disappoint though. It works well with the story and completes the running idea of everything the reader has been through up to that point. There is a snippet at the end of the book for a part 2 coming soon, but a quick search through the web and social media didn't give me any kind of update outside of that. Would I immediately jump at a sequel? I'm not sure. I didn't see anything in the main story that would specifically point to or hint at a sequel, so I'd have to see the description of what it was about, more in depth than what was offered at the end of the book. These were some fun characters, but I didn't get attached to any of them that has me waiting for a follow-up. I will say that if a part 2 does happen, and it doesn't have Raven in it, it's gonna feel a bit weird. Only time will tell, I guess. The aspect of dream telepathy in the story was well written and intriguing enough that I'll keep my eye on this author to see what comes for a part 2. Thanks for spending this time with me. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for a month already. How about some dark fantasy, gothic, steampunk little number that's all jacked up on sugar for the next one? Stick around to find out. Until next time, find yourself a good book and take a break from reality.